Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to look at 3 graphic novels and kind of look and also talk about the books that they correspond to. So this is the first video of the Animorphs series, of which there are, I believe there's 53 books. I am not going into the rest of these. These are middle school and up. Emphasis on this, middle school and up. These are graphic and dark. Definitely on the dark side. So if you have sensitive kids, this is not the book series for them. This is a cat. She's annoying. By the time you guys see this, she will be trying to think. I'm filming this in 2023. She's about to turn 14. So she will be, by the time you guys see this, 15. This gives me an idea where the heck I'm filming. And she's annoying. So, like again, repeat this. Animorphs is not for the squeamish. It's not quite as bad as Joseph Delaney's, what series am I talking about? The Last Apprentice series, at least not so far. I've only got through the 3 graphic novels, which correspond very closely to the 3 books. So this is a stand-in for all of them. Just because it's an introduction, I will be going through various ones in large groups of 5 because there's 53 books in this series. I'm not doing one video for each of them. I have other things to do this year, including Anna Green Gables and Boxcar Children in the Wings of Fire series. That's what else is going on this year. Anna Green Gables is going on simultaneously with this. At least it should be to an extent. Okay, let's get going with this. Hi, Kendra. The cat is annoying. Hi, sweetie girl. She's about to turn 14. I'm giving her attention because, again, she's about to turn 14. Okay, so this is the first of the 3 graphic novels. The Invasion, I'm corresponding here. Goes with the very first book in this series. So this is the basis. You have our main characters here. That is not my cat. Kendra, I am trying to film here. So, and the graphic novels are very, very good. So, let's bring up the first, the names of our characters in this series. So, and this is the setup book. So, you start off with 2 friends. You have Jake and you have Marco. And then they run into another friend of theirs, an outcast in the group by the name of Tobis. And then the boys group up with 3 girls. Rachel, who is Jake's cousin, and her best friend, I believe it's Cassie, sorry. Cassie and Rachel. So these are the 3 main characters in this. Sorry, my eyes are acting up here. But so basically, they're at the mall. They're deciding to leave. They're going to go through this old vacant lot, which is like an old vacant town that they kind of abandoned. And what happens is, I'm going to put this down because this is heavy, as opposed to, I'm sure, the paperback books, which are much, much lighter. And they hear this commotion, they hide, this ship crashes, this alien comes out. So, this alien talks to them. This alien is a, what on earth do you call them? If I put this, I'm probably going to pronounce these things. Get back to this point. Androlites. And basically this one is dying. His family has been killed. They were trying to protect and go to war at Earth to protect them from these very, very strange creatures by the name of, I think it's Yeats. Yerks. Sorry. Which are worm-like creatures that take over people's bodies and any other creature. So what this Androlite does is he gives these children these think they're teenagers or preteens. I think they're preteens. The power to transform into different animals. And he informs them that the only time the hosts are free of their yeets, their worm-like thingies, is when they have to go to the pool where these things need to soak in water and basically get nutrients, and then they go back into their bodies. And that's kind of a way to help destroy them. So the kids learn to morph into different creatures. They start investigating things. They find out Jake's brother Tom is part of this. They realize that their vice principal is as well. And they go to this party where they're trying to recruit people. It does turn out that his brother Tom was a willing host. So there are either they capture them and they force them into this, or they convince them to be hosts which is kind of I think what they did to the vice principal and his wife. That's the next book. But to basically be host to them by promising usually some sort of power. And I can't remember what the heck they promised his brother Tom. But they find the yeet pool, and in this battle, they make it explode. They try to rescue people. They get some people out. But Tobis, who's taken the form of a hawk, gets stuck in hiding for too long. And if they're in animal shape for more than, I think it's 2 hours, they're stuck. So Tobis gets stuck. He is now a hawk, and that is how the first book ends. That's a basic summary. So as I said, these things get dark. There are people who are dying. Tobis is now stuck as a bird. And it's very violent. Not quite as dark again as the Last Apprentice series, which is a different type of dark. This is science fiction. That was fantasy. So the next book is The Visitor. So in The Visitor, and that's this book here. This is the second book in the series. They only have 3 graphic novels. Otherwise, I'd cover the graphic novels. It's easier for me to get through them. The rest of them are going to be ebooks. So just as a warning, I may not do a visual on those, just because, again, I'm doing large groups. So, and I'd have to get like 5 of them, and I don't think it would fit on the screen. It would look very cluttered. But moving on. So this is book 2. So the other thing to kind of know is Marco's not entirely happy about this. He does not want to do this. This is too dangerous, particularly after the first book. He's really against this. It's like, we're going to get ourselves killed. Tobis is a bird. We can't save your brother. It sucks, but I don't want to be involved in this. We don't know anybody. Now, he is not callous in this. His mother has passed. He is all his dad has. And his dad's kind of gone off the rails a little bit. So he doesn't want to leave his father. He's already suffered loss. And so he's far more cautious, and he really does not want to do this. Yet he keeps doing it. But in this book, we get a little bit more into, again, they're looking for another pool. Rachel, who's on the front of this cover, by the way, transforms into a cat. Her friend, Melissa, I believe is the name of the character. Let's see. Let me double check through this. Let's see. What's Melissa? They're dealing with various things. But let's see. I think it's Melissa is the name of the vice principal's daughter. Marco's not happy about this. Yeah, Melissa. And she transfers into Melissa's cat. Or at least a look-alike of Melissa's cat. And sneaks into the house and finds out both Melissa's parents are Yeats. They're very much, the reason Melissa has been very depressed and closing off is because her parents, who have gone from loving to very, very distant, because now they're not themselves. And you do find out that they are willing participants. It first started off with the mother and then the father. For some reason, they were promised some sort of power, with the guarantee, particularly from the father, that they would not hurt they would not hurt her child. And both the parents seem to be fighting. They're fighting being hosts. I'm going to say possessed, but that's not quite this. All right. Allergies here. But eventually they're fighting because they want to protect their daughter. Their love for their daughter is stronger than the Yeats, and they're going to keep fighting, particularly when they're going to kill the cat and Rachel is captured. And again, there's another battle with this, and that's how most of these end. There's these guys, and they're fighting off giant things. They still, now the Yeats think that the children are androlites because all of a sudden they're transforming, and they don't realize they're still human children. And they have various different monsters. They have a cat rescue, and the only thing they can do is the fact that they type a letter and letting Melissa know that her father loves her. And that's kind of how it ends, because I think her parents are still contained because they're still controlled. So, but their humans the humans that they are investigating are fighting them. So that's kind of what happens in this one. Basically, Rachel's going to be talked to and brought to the main antagonist in these series is what on earth is his name? He's a Yeet who's taken the form of an androlite. So, and what is his name? Let's see. I think it's strange. It's the Seer, I believe is the name. What is the name of the creature here? Let me skim through these books. The Vizier is what they call him. So he's the big bad guy in these. He's the one who's in charge of the invasion of Earth. And so they have to get away from him in this book. So it has nothing to do with the Yeet pool, but there is a big battle and they barely get out. So, and now on to the encounter. So that's this book. This is Jake on the front cover, by the way. In fact, I'll bring up the first kind of, so you can see the back. This is what the images are. The black kid here is Marco. This is the body of, with the long blonde hair, is Tobis when he's human. This is Jake. This is Rachel. And this is, well, I cannot remember her name. Because she's not Cassie. So both, I think Marco's Hispanic, Cassie is black, and the other three are white. Just if you wanted to know. And Tobis comes from a broken home. That's the other thing to know. Obviously, Rachel does not. I don't believe Cassie does either, though I think she works in her parents' restaurant. And Marco's an only child because whose mother is passed. So, all right, back to Encounter. So, Encounter will really do deal a lot with Tobis. Now, each of these, you kind of seem to have a main focus. So in the first book, it's very much Jake. In the second book, it's Rachel. In this one, it's Tobis. So it's very much, this is actually Tobis on the cover. So he's the one who is talking. And this is very much his story. He's having trouble. Remember, he's a hawk. He's stuck as a hawk. He can't transform back. And he starts losing his human self, and there's a lot of back and forth in his brain where he should just be a hawk, he should just let go. He's not human anymore. Nobody loves him. But then they're dealing with the fact that they're seeing the invasion happening. They realize that there's a giant ship in the forest. It's sucking up water. They're sucking up air and bringing it back to the mothership. So they realize now that the mothership that's hovering over Earth somewhere. Again, this is I think these books came out, the originals came out in the early 90s. So as opposed to now, where we have the International Space Station, we have a bunch of really high-tech telescopes, we would spot something like this, unless it had real cloaking activity or it's hiding somewhere. But it would be unlikely that that humanity with its current technology would not be able to spot these unless they were hiding somewhere pretty far away. So, but nonetheless, they realize that this big ship has to come in and collect water and air to bring back to the mothership. So they try to make up a plan to get into this mothership and do something. And meanwhile, Topaz is having this entire issue where he's fighting back and forth, trying to be a hawk here. And Marco's getting irritated because, again, he doesn't want to participate. But eventually they get to be fish, and they get into this thing, and then they get stuck, and they can't get out. And Topaz is eventually able to blow up a hole in the side by stealing something from these creatures and get his friends out. And they all survive. And that's kind of the climax of this story. But it is very interesting because you're dealing with, in this case, Topaz, who's now, again, he's stuck as a hawk. And this is how he, at the end of it, is he's more determined than ever to help, because there's a bunch of people on Earth that are stuck with these things in their brains that can't be free, and he understands this. And they are hoping that when the Androlites finally come, because they did send a distress signal, the original Androlite, if I'm pronouncing this wrong, forgive me, but sent word for help, and it's just going to take time. And so they're busy fighting until the cavalry arrives, which I'm hoping is at the end of this book series. But again, he's more determined to help now because he knows, okay, he understands how they feel. So I have a feeling in the fourth book, Marco's going to be irritated again. So that's really the start of this book series. Again, I'm going into these blind, and I am going to admit I'm going to probably skim through them. This is not really my genre. I'm far more into less violent fantasy stuff and stuff like the Anne of Green Gables series, which I will review. I think I have books here. So, not hopefully as dark as the Joseph Delaney's The Last of the Apprentice series. If you want to check out, that's another middle school series. That's really, 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 really dark and really, really bloody and very, very graphic. I covered that. By the time you guys see these guys, I covered those in 2022. Though I probably filmed them in 2021. That's a 13-part series. But that's really, really dark. This is more science fiction dark. So there's death, there's explosions, but it's not quite the bloody dark stuff that you get when you're dealing with almost straight up horror, which is what I would really consider Joseph Delaney, who is a fantastic author. At least he was. He passed not too long ago in his Last Apprentice series. I do not knock the author. The author is very good. The same with these. The author by the name is K. Applegate, and it's based on her novel. I think if you want to know, these things they are based on a novel by K. Applegate and Michael Grant, and then adapted by Chris Grine, which I'm guessing is the illustrator here. And these are really well done graphic novels. Graphic novels are something that I'm learning a lot more about, and I'm really enjoying them. I wish I had been exposed to them a little bit more. as a child because I am dyslexic, and these things make it easier to read things because it takes away the block of text, so to speak, that you can find in regular books, which makes it easier for someone like me to read and to comprehend, particularly with the pictures and how it breaks things up into little bubbles and little parts, while still getting a very, I'm not going to say adult, but definitely an older, this is not a children's book, this is middle school and high school, don't go there. I don't, maybe preteens. I don't think my 8-year-old nephew would enjoy these. He's very much into Minecraft. My 11-year-old niece is more into mysteries right now, but she could probably handle these. I don't think my nephew could. So 10 would maybe be my youngest on these, and I think that's what they're designed for. I know the thin paperbacks, these themselves are, let's see how long this one is. You're going to give me page numbers. Yeah, this is about 200 pages. So I'm late middle school, late elementary, maybe. Depending on your kid, depending on their reading level, depending on their interest and maturity level. Again, if you have sensitive children, these are not the books for your kids. They're just not. Again, lots of explosions, lots of death, and one of the main characters is stuck as a bird. And he's having a heck of a lot of trouble with it, particularly in this third book. So, that's kind of my age range. These are really well written. I have actually read the first 2 books in ebook form, which is how I was accessing them. When I set this up, I will send the link so you can get easy access to the ebooks for free, which is how I got through them, through the wonders of Reddit. And then I will also do Scholastic, which is their main the main publisher. And they are redoing all of these in graphic novels. So as far as I know, they're probably going to redo all of them. We will see. But the first 3 are the only ones that are currently out. So that is really, this is a bit longer video, but that's the end of this video. If you like Maybe She, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I am going to cover all of the Animorphs. I'm also covering Anne of Green Gables right now as well. Though I believe what's going on right now is I'm finishing the Catherine Lasky's The Bears of the Ice series. So, and then if you're interested in that author, I have covered Guardians of Ga'Hoole, The Wolves of Beyond, and The Bears of the Ice. I may go into her horse and some of her other series, but not till maybe 2025. So the other series that I have covered, if you're interested in, I have covered Joseph Delaney's The Last Apprentice series. Prior to that, I have covered John Flanagan's The Ranger's Apprentice series. Please ignore the screaming cat. I have covered, so far with Comes to Tamora Pierce, I have covered her Circle of Magic Quartet, the Circle Ormans Quartet, The Will of the Empress. This past year, I've covered Song Alliance Quartet and the Immortals Quartet. So I have covered all of those. The Circle of Magic was early on. I've also covered, really early on, was Bruce Coville's The Unicorn Chronicles, which I may go back to as well. The Anne of Green Gables is something similar. I've done a video on those in the past where I grouped everything together, and I don't think I read them all. I'm doing them one by one now and covering not only the books, the short stories, I'm covering all 4 films and the 7-part and the 7-series TV show that I have not watched since I was a kid. Once all those are done, we are going into the Boxcar Children, and then we're doing Wings of Fire. That's the series this year. I also do theme months, so you have a lot of stuff going on. I'm covering this year, trying to think, some advanced craft stuff in January, Black History Month in February. March, I'm covering Women's History Month. April is the Titanic. May is Asian History Month with a focus on Angel Island. June is immigration focusing on Ellis Island. I believe I'm doing food. No, I'm doing Women Inventors in July, food in August. I'm covering Beauty and the Beast in September. October, I'm covering space. November is the Indian celebration of Diwali, and then I'm going to mysteries in December. So that is the overview of what's coming up. So that is the end of this bit of a long video. So like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one, and hopefully, if you're interested in homeschoolers, in OutSchool, I will be, hopefully by the time you see this, not only doing story times, but doing book groups and stuff on OutSchool. So, thank you.